Welcome to Influence Interviews. This is Laura Johnston, and I am so excited to have Emily Godin. She is the owner of Top Notch Management. Top Notch offers a full service of social media management, including strategy sessions, coaching, and management of profiles, posts, and audience engagements. She started her career while finishing her degree at Western Washington University in Bellingham, Washington, with a focus on real estate agents. But since then, she has grown her clientele to include many different industries. She's passionate about helping people who struggle with marketing themselves and being able to give them peace of mind, as well as helping them reach their business goals. Welcome, Emily.
Thank you, Laura, so much. I'm very happy to be here. I'm so excited to not only connect with you, but connect with your audience and either inspire them to be on social media, to start marketing themselves and their business. And if they're already doing that, I'm excited to share some extra value with them and really motivate and really educate on how to become successful on social media.
So one of the things that we talk about, Emily, and I am really grateful that you're here for my audience as well, because I think so many people struggle in the same way I have done. And I'm going to be fully transparent. Emily manages our social media and she does a wonderful job. And so I thought it was really important because I'm constantly meeting people in, colleagues of mine, people within my audience that struggle marketing themselves. And one of the best ways to grow your business is to become a person of interest. And what does that mean? Becoming a person of interest is just getting really involved in your community. When people see you, they know you, they want to be involved with you. You're not chasing clients anymore, right? You're attracting them. So Emily, what does it mean for you as a social media management company to help someone become a person of interest?
Well, on social media, it's just to become a person of interest is much like it would be in your community. Like you said, you want to be that person who's the expert, who your audience actually comes to for advice or for knowledge. So when it comes to social media, there's obviously, if you go on and you're a coach, you're going to find many other coaches who are probably doing the exact same thing as you. And so it may be discouraging to be like, how do I become this person of interest when there's 1,000 other people who are doing the exact same thing I'm doing? But becoming the one person of interest on social media, so that's probably unlikely in your industry to be that one person of interest. But creating a specific audience who finds you as an expert, who comes to you for their expertise, that will define you as that person of interest. You don't need to have the whole world be your audience and find only you as that specific person of interest. But finding your niche, finding that audience who comes to you and trust you, and then eventually on social media creating business with that audience, that's how you know you've reached that person of interest.
Yeah, I think that's an important point because so often we feel like how are we going to connect with all of these people, right? And there's so much competition, there's so much noise going on the internet. But one of the things that I think is really important, and you have shared with me, is to be visible but be myself. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Can you talk a little bit more about just being authentic?
Yes, well, that's about building your brand as well and realizing that you are your brand. And so trying to be fake and be something else and be like another person, people are going to be able to read into that. They're going to see that you're trying to fake it till you make it. And so your audience, they're not going to trust you. They want to see the real you. So if you're really goofy, be that goofy self. If you're not a goofy person, you're more of an introvert, be that person. Don't try to fake some type of personality thinking that's what your audience would like, because you're going to find your audience. You're going to find those people who like you for who you are, who exactly you are. And so build your own personal brand around who you truly are.
I love that. Okay, so once you've become that, or as you're building to become that person of interest, what are your top social media tips?
My top social media tips. Well, the first one is to start with a plan. I think a lot of people jump into social media not really prepared for, they don't really have like a social media content calendar. So I always say start with a plan, set social media goals and objectives. Why are you on social media in the first place? What is your goals? How do you know you're growing in the right direction? And then research your competition. What are they doing? What is working for them? What's not working for them? I think that's a great way to get started, to try to see what's already working and kind of not copy, but follow in those footsteps.
Yeah.
And then if you're already using social media, evaluate what has or hasn't been working for you already. So once you've looked at your competition, look at yourself too. What has been working for you and what hasn't been working? And then from all of this, create a content calendar, a content strategy calendar where you discuss with yourself exactly what you're going to post, what days you're going to post, what your content will be, and make sure your content is obviously very, very valuable. My next tip is to decide which platforms are right for you. This is a big one for me because lots of people will think, oh, if I want to become a person of interest in my industry, I need to pick a platform where my audience will be on. But I disagree with that because your audience, let's be honest, is going to be on every single platform. You're going to find if you are a coach and you want to be on Instagram, then you're going to find your people on Instagram. Your audience is everywhere. So my biggest point is to choose a platform that you love, that you want to be on, because then you're more likely to show up on those platforms. And then, if you become an expert there on that platform, you can grow to others if you'd like, but choose one platform that you like and your audience will show up. They will be there. So
I
that's
love
my
that you
next.
said that, Emily. Can I jump in here? I
Yeah.
love that because when, you know, with our company, it's me and my partner, and then we're a company, but we kind of have different avatars. So we were trying to be everywhere for everyone. And we were so overwhelmed when we brought you on board. That was one of the first things that you helped us realize, that we don't have to be on every single platform in 15 different ways. Like, really do some tests. You did some tests for us and paid attention to the analytics. But yeah, that was hard because I think that's what people feel like. They feel like if they're not everywhere, they're going to miss someone.
Yeah. And what we found for you in high impact leadership was that LinkedIn was your place, where you found your people, where you're able to connect with other entrepreneurs and so many people in different industries. So we found that LinkedIn was your spot. And it could have been Instagram, it could have been Facebook, but we liked LinkedIn the best for this company. So we just found what worked best and stuck with that. And we post every so often to Instagram and to Facebook, but we focus on the engagement aspects on LinkedIn, really growing our audience on LinkedIn. And so I think that's very smart to decide which platforms are right for your industry specific, not your industry, but you as a person specifically.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, any other top tips you recommend?
Yes, I have a few more. So another tip I have is to know your audience and learn more about your audience. That seems very generic and obvious, but lots of people end up posting for what they think their audience would like, or kind of posting for themselves. And so learn what your audience wants, what they need. And so I think that's very, very important. But also build relationships. So that's my next tip, is to build relationships with this audience. Different ways you can do that are through like Facebook groups. You can create a Facebook group where you can add people and grow these relationships on a more personal level. Connect with other entrepreneurs and influencers who are doing the same thing as you are. That's another great way to kind of grow your audience and build relationships with them, build trust. And also like highlight your followers, highlight the people that are already connected with you, connect with those who are already following. I think that's so important, to build those relationships with people who already find you as that person of interest. Because that's how you're going to truly grow.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. Another tip would to be to pay attention to trends. There's always new trends that are coming up, and that can be very hard and difficult to stay on top of. But it's just another way to show yourself as an expert, not only in your industry, but in an expert in social media as a whole. People want to be able to come to you because they know that you're on top of things, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so my last few would be to create a consistent brand. Again, like we talked about earlier, that you are your brand. And being consistent with that message is very, very important. It's how people will learn to trust you over time. If you're constantly changing your message and changing your brand, people will be kind of lost and they won't come to you as that person.
I was guilty of that. I
Yes.
had my fun self on Facebook. I had my business self on LinkedIn. I had all these different, short hair in one place, long hair in another place. Who would recognize me from platform to platform? So yeah, I appreciate that comment. That's really important to show up so that people know, how can they know, like, and trust you if you're a totally different person on different platforms.
Exactly. Exactly. My last social media tip is then once you've done all of these things, you've refined your message and you're building these relationships, it is to continually track and refine your plan and your performance. So again, like we talked about earlier, just constantly looking at what's working, what's not working, and changing and adapting to your audience and to what's working for you. So that's my last tip, is just to always be okay with change, be okay with improving, or of course everybody's okay with improving, right? We all want to improve, but being okay with make those changes to improve.
Yeah, I love it. I love the word you used, refine, track and refine. So that's really good, because it's not necessarily about having to change or switch gears. It's about fine tuning it. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. So those are my main social media tips. Social media is an amazing way to connect with so many people. There's no other way for you to reach thousands of people from sitting on your couch with one small 10-second video. So
Well, and
being able, go ahead.
I want to go back to what you said about building relationships. I have met amazing people because that I never would have met otherwise, that I've, collaborated with, and it has, blessed my life for sure. And yeah, I love that you said that, build relationship. It's an opportunity to connect in a totally bigger way.
Yeah, well, and that's what social media was made for, right? It's social media. It's made to be social, to connect with other people. And so going on there and just expecting to post and then post and ghost is, kind of what they say. You're not going to be able to build those relationships. You're not going to be able to build that trust. If you are actually on social media to build your business, build brand awareness, and actually expect people to come and buy something for you, whether it's a product or a service, you have to actually engage with that audience to be able to build that trust. I'm more likely to buy something from someone, especially when it comes to a service, right? Because service, if you're a coach or if you're, like me, for example, managing people's social media, being able to actually create that relationship is even that much more important.
Yeah, I agree. So you talked about having a calendar, and you talked a little bit about content. How do I go about creating content and knowing what I should be posting? Like, how do I even start to create a calendar?
Yes. Well, you first want to think about what kind of content you want to create. What are you trying to do for your audience? And there's multiple things you can be doing. You can be trying to educate them, entertain them. Maybe you're, you know, more of a funny person, so you're using more like memes and those types of things to entertain your audience. Um, so there's multiple ways that you can go about it. We want to find out what exactly you want to do. You can do all of them too. You can engage and you can entertain and you can educate all within in all of your posts. Like that's okay to do that as well. But figure out what type of content you want to post. Make sure that it's engaging for your audience. Each post has some way for them to connect with you, whether it's leading them to your website or if it's asking them to comment in the comment section below. There has to be a call to action within every single post. And so knowing how you're going to use that, I think is also important to have within your content calendar. Once you've decided what type of content you're going to create, you have to think about what's realistic for you. Yes, if you're the type of person who can post twice a day and have 15 different types of stories, then that's great. You probably will grow really fast if you can consistently do that. But the problem is lots of people will try to post that often and then they're like, wow, this is exhausting. How do I create that much content? I have to spend one whole day creating that content. And so they end up skipping a whole week. And then they'll go back for it for a week and then skipping 2 weeks. And so what ends up happening,
That
I've been guilty of that. It's hard being that consistent when you have that much that quantity of content. And so knowing what's realistic for you, that might be realistic for you. That could be something that you can do, but it may not be, because consistency honestly is the most important thing when it comes to posting on social media. So knowing that, okay, I can only really post 3 times a week. that's totally okay. Your audience will learn that this is what they can expect from you. But when you're bouncing back and forth, then it becomes hard. And you, instead of actually growing an audience, you end up probably losing followers, which is not what we want. So again, that's know what kind of content you're creating, know what's kind of realistic for you, how much you can post, and then actually create a spreadsheet that says Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Have every single day of the week out there and post what your main topic will be for those days. And if you even want to get more ahead of the game, you can create your captions. You can create the posts already for those pages. So it's all completely laid out for you. What I do for my clients is I lay it out month by month. So at the very beginning of the month, we will know exactly what will be posted every single day for that whole month. And it just clarifies, it keeps everybody on the same page. It makes you more comfortable, right? Knowing what's going to be posted, knowing what's going to be going out there. And then it helps you be more consistent. So creating a content calendar, a strategy calendar, which could include like hashtags and that type of thing. It's super, super important to do so.
Well, I will say that has been amazing for me, right? Because I think that I'm one of those that thinks, oh, I can post, I can do stories. It's not hard. But then when I'm on the spot and I'm like, oh crud, I haven't, created a plan. That's when I was really struggling. You got me on a plan. But in addition to that, like you talked about, the reality of how much content you can actually create. And so as a social media manager, you have taken over some of those things. Like you take that content, break it down, and so that I'm not having to do that every day, or chunk it up, not chunk it up, but chunk it into pieces on one day, spend a half hour making a bunch of little things, but still there's a plan. So Emily, I love that you, for me and for others of your clients, it just is so customized to them. And so that's pretty cool.
Yes. Well, like we said, because you're your brand, so creating a custom plan for you, what will fit you perfectly. I could sit there and say that I can create a calendar that will post Monday, Wednesday, Friday, this many times this week and this many times this next week. But then that's not specific to you whatsoever. And so it's more important to create a content strategy and a content calendar that's very specific to you.
So as we're talking about, is it different if I'm trying to become a person of interest? Do I actually post anything different as opposed to just adding value to my clients?
Yes. I think to be able to become a person of interest, you have to show yourself as the expert in your industry. And so being able to show that you're knowledgeable about your, if you're a real estate agent, being able to show that you're knowledgeable about the home buying and selling process, and showing that you know what the market looks like right now and what homes are available, and being able to show yourself as an expert, educating your audience is the best way to become a person of interest. You'll see that a lot with real estate agents. You can see both sides of it. You can see a real estate agent who does do these things, and then one who doesn't. And the one who is educating and is entertaining and engaging with their audience is going to be that person of interest, compared to that person who's posting every so often about their family and their dog, which is fine if you want to do that. But if you're trying to grow your business, then it needs to be educating and engaging content.
I'm going to add to that a little bit, because I think that even for sure everything you said is spot on. But I'm going to add to that a little bit by becoming a person of interest is doing things that are interesting also within your industry. So showing that you're a connector. So showing you engaging with other people in your industry, or cool events within your industry that show your knowledge, not just that you're sharing your knowledge, but people are seeing that you're continuously educating yourself, continuously connecting with other cool people. And that you're involved in your community. That's another huge one. When you show that you're really involved with your community and doing volunteer work, or that's a big one and a great one, because when you're looking for clients in your community and they see you super involved on a regular basis, that makes you cool. So
well, again, it builds that trust, right? Like doing those types of things, it builds that trust. And that's the most important thing when it comes to building relationships on social media. It's hard to trust somebody who you only see through your phone. And so being able to show them the things you're involved in and the people that you're involved with, and showing what you know and what you still want to know and how you're learning and growing and how you're helping your community learn and grow, and helping your audience learn and grow. I mean, um, that is what will build that trust. That will help you become that person of interest within your industry, and really for your audience.
I love that you said that. No, like, and trust. Trust is so important. And you're right, because if you're only getting to know them on social media, how often do people kind of fake their persona? So if you can actually really see them live and engaged, doing cool things. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, and
Okay, Emily, I have a really big question, because this one is, I think, where people really don't know what the heck they're doing, and it's analytics.
yes. Well, analytics, it's a huge part of, like I said before, that whole learning and growing and adapting to what's working for you, what's not, continually tracking and refining your plan. Like that has to all do with being able to pay attention to your analytics. Every social media platform provides analytics. That being said, though, you usually, like for Instagram, for example, you have to be a have a business or creator account to be able to look at your analytics. So it's important, first of all, when you're creating these profiles for yourself on social media, making sure you have the right profile, or type of profile that will allow you to look at your analytics in the first place. Once you've done that, it usually takes a while and consistent posting for social media, these platforms, to be able to recognize what's working for you, like how many people are viewing your stories, which days your audience are on social media. It takes a little bit for it to be able to capture that, so you have to be a little bit patient. But being able to look at your analytics, it provides so much valuable information. One of the biggest one is what days your audience are even on social media. You can go onto your Instagram algorithms and see, oh, my audience, I've been posting Tuesday morning at 9 a.m., but my audience is even in, maybe half of my audience is actually on social media at that point. Maybe 3 o'clock in the afternoon is actually when your audience is showing up on Tuesdays. And so being able to know when and where your audience is very, very important, especially when it comes to when you post on social media. The Instagram algorithm and Facebook algorithm, LinkedIn algorithm, that needs to see your post get a certain amount of engagement within that first little bit of posting. And that's how it will then reach your post out to more people. And so if you're posting at 9 a.m., yeah, you'll probably get some people to see it, but you won't get that initial engagement. And so it won't be able to go as far as it would if you posted at 3 a.m. or 3 p.m. and got all of that initial engagement. And so it's really important to understand where your audience is and what time they are there. LinkedIn does it a little differently, where their analytics, they don't look at it as a whole necessarily, but more look at it post by post. So you can look at a post and look at that certain post analytics and recognize this post did really well compared to this other post that I posted at a different time, or this post that contained this type of content did better than this post that contained this content. So I know my audience likes this type of content better. So it's really just super important to pay attention to your analytics, constantly change what you're doing based off what your analytics are telling you. And they're very simple to understand. Once you just look at it, you're like, oh, clearly I had 300% more engagement this last week because maybe you posted really consistently or you shared something really valuable that week. So you can kind of base what you're posting. It's really, really easy to understand once you look at it. But understanding that you have to look at it is obviously the most important thing, right?
How often do you meet with your clients to go over the analytics?
On a monthly basis, at the beginning of the month, when you're showing them this is the content strategy for this next month, be like, this is also what worked to this last week. This last month. This is what your audience liked. This is what your audience didn't like. This is what has been working, what hasn't been working. So we're going to adjust our content strategy based off of what has or has not been working, and then readjust it for that next month. And then at the end of that next month, we're creating our content calendar for the next month. Again, looking at those analytics, what worked, what didn't work, and adjusting and refining to those analytics.
I love that. I was worried that might be something I was supposed to be doing on the daily. And of course, as my manager, you you handle a lot of the analytics for me. So is that something that you can teach someone, or do they need to rely on having a manager to manage that?
You don't need to rely on a manager to do any part of social media. If you have the time and you're able to post and you're able to review that post and what's, again, looking at those analytics. If you're able to do that yourself, you have the time to do it yourself, then by all means do it. If you don't necessarily, you want to be the person posting and handling your social media, but you don't maybe necessarily know how to do that, then hiring maybe a coach is more something for you. So like Top Notch Management, we offer coaching sessions for these types of things to educate you on how to use social media so you can handle it yourself. But if you don't want to learn about it, you just want to hand it off because you are busy with all other things in life that are important, all other ways that you can be marketing yourself with emails and all the business side of things that you're worrying about. We offer also full management where we do post and we look at the analytics and we take care of all those things so you don't have to. So there's different levels of ways you can handle your social media.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. So what is the best way to get a hold of Emily Godin of Top Notch Management?
Well, I am on Instagram. That's my platform that I like to be on. That's the one I chose where I can find my audience. And so you can always find me on Instagram, topnotchmanagement_LLC. Also, you can just email me at Emily at topnotchmgmt.net. And then you could also visit my website, which is topnotchmgmt.net, where you can find all the packages that we offer. There's a lot of really cool freebie resources. I have content calendars already created for you, 365 days worth of stories, story ideas created for you as well. So there's a lot of valuable information on those websites, on my website as well. So any of those three ways: social media, email, or website.
Awesome. Well, we will definitely post those that contact information in our below wherever all of the different places where this is posted. We will make sure that you get access to Emily and her amazing management of social media. She does a great job for our company. She has given me so much peace of mind. I'm personally really happy to have you on board, Emily. So thank you for sharing with our audience. Is there anything else that you're dying to share with them before we say goodbye?
Well, just thank you so much again for having me on here. And I just want everyone to know, don't be scared of social media. I know that it's a lot to try to take on, especially if you've never really used the platforms, but don't be scared of it. It's only there to really help you. If you're on there consistently, you can only grow. You can only grow, build a larger audience than you ever would be able to if you weren't on social media. So take that step. Be brave and conquer those social media platforms, because it's only going to help you. It's only going to benefit your company.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Because of Emily, before working with her, I was so afraid of especially doing video, doing those stories in front of the camera. And I have to admit, I am now over that little fear factor. There's just, I actually have a lot of fun with it now. And I think it's because of the plan, right? Having the plan, but also the consistency you're talking about, and you saying, just do it. It doesn't have to be perfect. And you get more and more comfortable every time you do it. So
Exactly. Yeah. Just pushing through. And like you said, just do it. Nike said it best when they told us all to do that.
I love it. Thank you so much for being here. Reach out to Emily and have a fantastic rest of your week.
Thank you, everyone.